What's yours is mine.
Hey babe, I'm going out. I'm taking the car. Huh?
What's yours is mine. What's mine is yours.
Wow. All right, so I have Cosmic Colonies on the table. This comes from Scott Almes and Floodgate Games. Cosmic Colonies is a card drafting, action selection, tile laying game in which you are going to try to collect these resources here at the bottom of the game board to pay for these building tiles, which you will then place on your asteroid player board, trying to cover up as many of these colored spaces as you can so that you get victory points at the end of the game. Let me explain this in more detail. How a round works after you have figured out which deck you are going to use. There is an advanced version of this game in which you will use the advanced cards and the advanced side of the player board. You will also remove a certain number of cards from the deck depending upon the number of players in the game. So you're never quite sure which cards you will be playing with until you get into the game and start playing with the cards. There is a solo version of this game as well, but we're only going to be covering the multiplayer version of the game. You also are going to make sure to deal out one of these for each person playing, and this is a secret hidden agenda. And essentially how this works, the type of tile on the top of the card is going to give you 2 bonus points for each one of those you have on your board at the end of the game. And the bottom one is going to give you 1 bonus point for each one you have at the end of the game, excuse me. So that's how that works. Now, after you have set the game up and removed a certain number of cards, you're going to deal everybody 4 cards. And with these cards, you are going to be taking your different actions throughout the course of the game. There's a number of information here on the cards that you need to be aware of. The first is the number in the top left corner. The number in the top left corner tells you when it activates. Lowest numbers go first. Generally, lower numbers mean you get to go first, but the cards don't do as much. As you can see, no special ability on the number 1 card. But it does let you get to go first. The other things on the card you need to know are this number here in the diamond and, excuse me, and any special ability that is listed on the bottom of the card. Now, there are 2 things that you are going to be doing with these cards. You are either going to, again, use this number here in the diamond to collect resources, or you are going to be building. And so how this works, I take my 4 cards and I choose which one I want to play this round. And I'm going to play it face down right here in this slot. Real quick, while I'm showing you this, there are a number of different player boards that are all different and have these colored spaces in different spots, different shapes. And so all the boards are different, they're not the same. And there's another one. And here is the solo player board as well. But we're focusing on this right now, and so I will play it face down right here. Everybody else will do this as well, and then we all reveal at the same time. And again, lowest number goes first. And if I'm going to collect, I'm going to collect the number of resources listed here. Now, normally I have to take it from 1 spot. I cannot take from multiple spots unless my card's ability lets me do so. So I might take these 2 green right here. Then once everybody has done their action, then you will select another card from your hand. And once everybody has done that, then you flip it over and reveal. And again, lowest numbers go first. And you can either collect or you might build. And so building, how that works, I take whatever I have in my warehouse, which I can hold up to 9 things in my warehouse, and I pay them to whatever tile it is that I am wanting to build. And so pretend that I had a blue. I'm just going to say that I had this blue right here. I have 2 green and a blue, and I can afford this one right here because it costs 2 green and 1 blue. You can see what the other tiles here cost. This tile right here in the middle says it has to be 2 of the same color and 1 of a different color. You cannot have these all three be the same. So I would take my 2 green and 1 blue and I put them back in the supply. And I take this tile and then I place it somewhere on my board. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to cover up as many of these colored spaces as I can, because the more of these that I cover up, that will give me more points at the end of the game. I will get points based on how many of these different types of tiles are left showing on my board. If I can cover all of them, meaning there's none still showing, I'm going to get the most points. But if I leave one, I'll get fewer. 2, 3, 4. If I leave 5 or more, I'm not going to get any points. And so I might put this one right here, for instance. Once you place a tile, it cannot move. It is stuck there. And then after your first tile, every tile thereafter has to touch at least one flat edge of a previous tile. Does not have to be the one that you just played, just a previous tile that you've played at some point. So that's how that works. Now, over back to this board, once somebody has built this tile, it is gone for the rest of the round. There's only one of these out here for each round. And so no one else can build this shape until the next round. Also, these resources are limited per round. They don't restock until the end of the round. So once a certain resource is all gone, it's all gone. You'll have to wait till next round. Speaking of which, at the end of a round, you're going to do something special. You're going to take the 2 cards that you played and you are going to pass them to the player on your left. And so this is how that what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine kind of works in this game, because you will also receive 2 cards from the player on your right, and they go into your hand of the 2 that you didn't play from the round before. You will then advance the token 1 space forward, the round token, and restock any open spaces here, and refresh the market right here for 1 resource per player at the table for each spot, up to a maximum of what it says here, so 5 for instance. And that's pretty much it. You'll continue to do this for 8 rounds, and at the end of the 8th round, you will see how many spaces you still have uncovered. Give yourself points for whatever you've got here. You'll also get 15 points if you are able to get 1 of every shape of tile on your asteroid, and then you will gain points for your secret agenda that you had at the beginning of the game, and you will keep track of that score right here on the scoreboard. And whoever has the most points is the winner, and that's how you play Cosmic Colonies.
Okay, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of Cosmic Colonies, and right now we're going to share our thoughts on this game. Sam, what'd you think about this game?
To be honest, I wasn't super excited about playing it at the beginning. I didn't feel like it was my type of game. I think I was looking at more of the robot concept of it, or the
theme?
The theme, yes. I was more focused on the theme. But then once we started playing, I realized it was very much a puzzle game, and that is games that I like. So I think you're right in presenting this to me. And I didn't try too hard, and I won really well. So I would definitely play again.
Oh, gee, thanks. What did you think about the combination of the different mechanics in this game with the polyominoes, the Tetris-like pieces, the resource management, the using the same deck of cards and passing them back and forth, tile laying, covering up the different spaces on your board? What did you think about all that?
At the beginning, again, it did sound like a lot, just a lot to think about. You have the cards, you have what pieces you need, where to put them on your board, but it did play very well.
Yeah.
Better and more fluently than I thought it would.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think this is a game, as you said, is very fluid with its mechanics. It doesn't feel like it's just a bunch of different mechanics all thrown together in one box that is very clunky. Everything seems to work real well. You play the cards to get the resources. You use the resources to get the pieces, the buildings. You put the buildings on your board. You cover up different spots on your board to try to get points. Like, all of it seems to flow real well together. Just a really fun overall experience with this game. I feel like the theme is pasted on, and it's a bit of an odd theme. I mean, you're building a colony on an asteroid. That's a bit odd, I suppose.
And that was the turnoff for me when you're telling me what the idea behind it was. That did not interest me too much. But the game itself is a lot of fun.
Yeah. The game itself is where this game shines, as odd as that sounds, because the theme is odd. The art isn't great. And I'm not a big person when it comes to art on games, but the art on this game is a little off-putting, I guess. I don't know how to put it. But the gameplay is very good.
I agree.
I mean, that's where this game shines. And if you ask me, when I go to buy a game, where do I want the best experience to come from? It's the gameplay.
Yeah.
The theme, okay. The artwork, meh. The game itself better be good. And this is a good game.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that.
Now, I will say that this is a really good game at 2 players because you're passing the cards back and forth. There is that, you use the cards, you pass them to the next player, and the way in a 2-player game that's done, as you can see, there's this board in between Sam and I, and when you use your 2 cards, you put them on that board, and that's where they stay for the next turn, and then the turn after, your opponent grabs those cards. So there's a delay in your opponent getting the cards you use. It's a 1-turn delay, and then they get them. And I like that experience. I think that was a really cool thing to do in a 2-player game because you kind of have to keep that in the back of your mind, that what you're using now, your opponent's going to get 2 turns later. And you might have really good cards, and they're going to come back around again, and this time they're going to bite you because your opponent's going to use them against you. And so you still have that experience in a 2-player game where, without that middle board there, if you didn't have your opponent getting the cards you've played, this game would fall flat. And I really appreciate that they worked it out real well in a 2-player experience. So now the components to this game are really good. I know we've knocked on some of the art and the theme, but the components are really well. Those little rubber pieces, I think, are cool, and they're unique. They do go along with the theme, as weird as the theme might be.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, there's a lot to like here with this game. Let's get into our ratings on it. Sam, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give this game?
I'd give it an 8.5.
Wow, 8.5. Why so high?
I mean, it just really is my type of game. Theme aside, I really enjoy the
mechanics and the gameplay.
Mechanics and gameplay of this type of game. I love puzzles, and this really hit the nail on the head for me.
Yeah, you're a sucker for the polyominoes, I think.
Yeah.
And putting them in the right spot on your board.
Yeah, if we were to list my favorite games, I think you definitely see a theme.
Yeah. I figured this would be one that you would like, be right up your alley, and it was one of the reasons why I wanted to try this one so badly. And I really like this game too. I think I give it a little bit lower than you. I think I would give it a 7.8. And the only reason are for some of the knocks that I mentioned before. The theme is just odd. The artwork is a little off-putting. But everything else about this game is really good. Really good. So much so that I would put this out there as saying, in contention for Game of the Year. It's a really fun experience. And I feel like with more people, if you play this up to its maximum player count, I think you would have a lot more competition with this game, and I think it would be even more fun. So, yeah, 7.8. All right, Sam. So the question is: this a game that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a great introduction to polyominoes and tile laying and resource management. It's a great introduction to those concepts without being overwhelming.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think this is a very cool intro to those kinds of mechanics for sure. All right, so if you like this game, please consider checking out the link in the description of the video. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. We're Love to Hate. We try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. Until next time, we'll catch you later.